Estonia, the old boats were considered sacred. When retired, they were permitted to die slowly for a second life. On some islands, the spirit of the boat was released in a midsummer's bonfire. This was also a way old Vikings released the spirits of kings. The first inhabitant of Gotland Island, the Viking Telvar, was burnt with his boat, and his 1,000-year-old grave is still marked with boulders. There are extinct peoples in the world, and no stones, no trees are left to commemorate them. Only a few place names and pieces of myths tell us about the Chimacum people living in the Pacific Northwest more than 100 years ago. They were massacred by conquerors to the very last woman and child. Nobody was here to bury them in hollowed canoes. Nobody was here to lift their canoe coffins on the trees as it was done for centuries. Did the Chimacums reach the afterlife at all? The elders of a barely surviving related tribe, the Quileute Indians, felt the spirits of the Chimacums were restless and decided on a pilgrimage to the mouth of the Chimacum River, the place of the bloodshed. For this holy journey, they carved 3 huge sailing canoes of red cedar. Maybe on board similar grandmas of boats, your or our ancestors crossed the Pacific. In which direction? Who knows? Or maybe they had come from a sinking continent in the middle of the Pacific from where all peoples originated. I was told about that by David Forlines, leader of the Quileute Indians, who initiated the pilgrimage paddle. During his life, David Forlines created 16 one-log canoes. This one, which was used to reach Chimacum, was his last. 2 more years were given to him after that, and a week before he passed away, we met again.
Tell me please, David, have you discovered the secret of the life?
Avoid death.
Are you ready for this?
Huh?
What do you think about this?
Oh, I've been there. I've already died once and I come back. This is my second time. My Tehelid is so strong that it won't let me go until the work's done. So, I died once and my casket came and I dressed it with my blankets and all my regalia and everything and burn it up to get the dead man out of here. And then I said, if you want the rest of him, then you take him in 4 days. Well, they don't want it.
Are you going to take your canoe along?
Huh?
Are you going to take your canoe along?
No, I cannot. they forbid that. The government is very funny. We can no longer have traditional burials. They think we belong in the ground. I wanted to be in the tree, and it got to be so, everybody, just legal stuff, and it was almost impossible. See, we go to the tree to go between the worlds when the fog comes and gets us. And when we decay and everything rots away, and our bones come to the ground, our relatives come, and sometimes sleep with our heads so that they can have an understanding, because there must be bones, and not in the ground, on top of the ground. So we believe in the heads are still of wisdom.
We present a visual essay carried out over 4 years of being with American Indians and Fenno-Ugric peoples. With the hollowed canoes, old beliefs have survived, and with these beliefs, the balance and harmony is still alive. The Sequoia Indians on the upper Amazon start each working day painting their faces to keep evils away and get work done well. Every morning, Chief Matasenya Pia makes a sacred yoko drink of yoko bark. Yoko gives you a secret power. Yoko gets it from a chief's spells. Every morning, Estonian men empty their bladders and then go directly to the woods.
See vana lootsik, mis minul on, see oli niisugune puu olnud, et ladvast olid teise lootsiku veel saanud. Noore kuu siis see kueva ja seenetab. Ja, aga nüüd on vana kuu, nüüd on see kõige parem mahavõtmise aeg puudel. Ogaspuud, siis saab noore kuu siis võtta. Selle puhul ei saa nuriseda. See terved on ja...
Ancient Estonians believed the aspen tree hides the soul of a young virgin woman. The Khantis of the Pim River in western Siberia, as well as North American Indians, believe that cedar is female and use it for canoes. Spruce is not good for canoes. It's male.
Cuando no tiene agua con ese tomate, si no hay agua. Tengo fe con eso tomaba antes. Tyyli rohkea. No, niin se. Anteeksi. Veri. Toch lieve. Juuksas.
Sequoias use 3 types of wood. A canoe made of a chapo lasts 3 years, one of Mona 5, but one of cedar is good for 10 years. This is a chapo.
Tüüd on. Ei taha keegi enam metsa sellega ei lõika, peavad olema need Rootsi saed ja Jaapani ja Saksa omad. Kyllä kun taktivahe võib vähän kuumal ka olla. Siit annab sul 2 tükki, kuule. Välja tea, siin nii vähe kukub, et... Jah, saab. Oota, mis ta sul on? 6 meetrit. 5,5. 5,5.
The sequoias were recently nomads. Seeking better lands for slash and burn agriculture, they moved up and down on tributaries of the Amazon. Now the state school has forced them to settle in a permanent village.
Họ của in nhóm hông quá lại ba vừa đó nhóm cứ nó tùy tốt cho mang các chọn rồi vậy đấy bà đấy cứ năng có dõi có đấy bà đấy mang cả an ninh so khai có ta ho mang đấy bà tốt ở bữa bên siêu đấy bà bây giờ qua con nằm mai yêu anh có mang đấy vậy.
The Khanties of the Pim River have never done any field work. The state gives them flour today. In the past, they followed reindeer and game. Now that is also stopped by the pollution of their natural world.
Good job.
Monday morning, the Sequoia housewife starts to brew asato. For the next weekend, an Indian beer will be ready to bring all the tribe together for community work and later on to call out spirits. By the way, everybody carries a natural yeast along. We can't come in the canoe. She says with the camera we'd tip it over. Huge hollowed canoes were considered cornerstones of the Pacific Northwest's indigenous cultures. Carrying 30 to 40 paddlers, canoes could cross the ocean in any weather. To revive the carving tradition interrupted more than 100 years ago is a dream of contemporary intellectuals.
Are you carving from here to here?
Marvin Oliver, celebrated Indian painter and sculptor, designs a full-size canoe with city man Steve Brown in Seattle's Discovery Park.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Even down here.
Because it looks much like the lofting of the boat that Don was saying.
Mm-hmm.
So these would be equal as you come down.
Well,
In other words,
more or less.
well, what I'm saying is, so what you're looking at is, if we cut this in half, these lines would go.
Yeah, right.
Siit tuleb keskmine see, keskmine suuruse poolest välja vist.
Võtad küll suur tuleb. Jälle kuulu.
The Estonians and the Khantis use the same way of carving. First they complete the outside design of the canoe. Richard Mike has one more year to live in our world, and the sacred raven, seal, and bear help him finish the canoe. Belief in the spiritual power of everything living was strong among the Indians and the Feta-Ugric peoples. The spirit of a sacrificed reindeer continues its life. If the body of a red-headed woodpecker is hung behind a cottage, then the precise eyesight of the bird goes into the hunter or canoe carver. The most honored place in the Khanti's universe belongs to the bear. A bear head is placed on the home altar above the sleeping place. Even if it has buttons of the Soviet Army instead of eyes, the bear's supernatural power and wisdom enters into a man with songs and dances. David Forlines, here 2 years before passing back to the Creator in his village La Push on the coast of the Pacific.
The canoe comes from a doe deer, and it was believed that the Creator, he tried to make a canoe from everything. Nothing worked. He'd take a design, and all that would happen is it would throw the people out, or it would tip over, until one day he seen this doe deer swimming with her tail on her back. And he watched her. She never tipped one way or the other, navigated in the water just beautifully. So the Creator asked the doe deer if he could use her shape to try to build a canoe so people could go on the water. And the doe deer, she says, "I've had many children, so it's okay." She says, "But one thing, you must always remember where this design came from. And then the tail on the back is still on the canoe." So all the canoes here are doe deer.
Do hoa bài bì do hoa đâu qua rào hoa hai lu ta bài bì hoa hai nhà cái hiện đại hi hoa hai lu tây bì hoa hai lu ta bài bì hoa hai nhà xe cái hi xe nhà xe cái hi đa cái bè đó hư đa cái bè đó hư Yo hoa gì yo đây hoa gì yo đây hoa gì yo đây quan cái gì yo đây quan cái gì yo đây quan cái gì mèo bị hiao mẹ hiao 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 quan cái gì yo hoa vai bị yo đây quan cái gì.
The Sequoias believe the most powerful spirit belongs to the mother jaguar. At the time of the world's creation, all animals, birds, fish, and men tried to enter heavenly paradise. But an endless ladder snapped off, and the only one who succeeded in jumping up to the clouds was a jaguar. It became governor of the kingdom of heaven. When the sequoias die, probably they go to the mother jaguar. Then they can take a look down from the sky to the mother Amazon, which dries up in February, as if a jaguar skin were thrown onto the rainforest. Come down, Mother Jaguar, and show your face. Come down, Mother Jaguar. Is your face red-painted as ours are? If one nice day a world contest of canoe carvers was held, probably the South American Indians would win. They do a canoe without any tricks because they can fell a tree of any size, whatever is needed. As the logs in Estonia and western Siberia are thin, and canoes must be light as bicycles, the walls of boats are carved very tiny. So the master Ilya Taiban drills more than 100 small holes into the completed outside of a boat. Afterward, he drives small sticks of the same length into the holes. Now, when hollowing the inside, he can feel if his axe reaches the sticks, and the wall of the boat becomes dangerously thin. Jan Rahuma is not carving with joy. There is no inner need to give birth to a canoe. This boat was ordered by one city man for his summer house. The next order has come from Toronto.
Amo kutje pikon pare. Arhuina man. Pitoku. Alo toka fira. Asha warbi. Mahe vai keki inja mu sai. No niin jikki joje. Dojere kuna minä tuntuu basoikin. Mamma kana jikkat kosi makadun. Kuala ne dada. Ke waka. Oh, kiva pakko. Nyt tietty mahi kivuikko. Hoda ikki mun aja tietää mut ke. Ikki kaapu. Juju osukiri. Ansin siripa. Siwakki vaka. Pahan si juve. Tuto sa itui kwai paise. Tuto sa itui kwai paise. Juju osukiri. Ansin siripa. Siwakki vaka. Mosiripa. Husi juve. Tuto sa itui kwai paise. Tuto sa itui kwai paise.
A tortoise named Metello was together with man entering heaven when the ladder broke down and they both dropped back to the earth. Messages about the Estonians' drum come from across the centuries. The last drum on Kinu Island 100 years ago was made of cat leather on hazel circle. For a Kanti shaman, the drum is the universe. The strength of a drum is so big and dangerous that even a very powerful shaman, Susko, doesn't keep the instrument at his home, but in a sacred sledge or canoe. Just now he is talking to the main god, Num Torm.
Kai mari tinnak. Sarnak.
The shaman is like a village doctor who heals animals and men. He sees all living bodies as spiritual and material entities. Now he has joined all his own and his drum's secret powers to heal a sick reindeer. But the Kanti shaman has more obligations. After death, the human body goes into the underworld, the spirit into the upper world. There, man lives a life in the opposite direction until one becomes small as a mosquito. When this opposite life ends, a shaman points to which child, born in this middle world, the free soul can enter. The interest of white men in Indian crafts grows on the U.S. West Coast. A crack appeared suddenly during steaming of that canoe, and all the water was lost. No wise man was invited who could remember that their ancestors used some wet moss instead of plain water.
My dad made a canoe bigger than that one. And when he did this work here, he did it all by himself.
Was it your father?
Huh?
It was your father who made the canoe, or yourself?
Yeah, my dad. And my great-grandfather was the chief of 23 tribes from here. There used to be 23 tribes used to come down on that spit over there long years ago. The problem with the tribes now is they don't follow their tradition with their tribes. See? Long years ago, like my dad, was trying to get me interested in building canoes, and I didn't have no interest in building a canoe. Then our tribe lost our language. Okay, but that's sad when tribes lose their tradition,
Is that the only opportunity for rebirth of grandmas of boats? If the new managers of America, billionaires, architects, etc., start to order and create such expensive decorations?
This is a spiritual object. This is a Northwest Indian-style canoe made of a large cedar log, steamed and bent. I called this canoe the Great Grizzly Sea Bear Canoe since it's an object of bright pride. It has flippers of a sea lion, and it has the body of a grizzly bear. And the boat is, to me, something like a pea pod or a butterfly. As it opens up, it spreads its wings and flies across the water with the paddlers. It's a canoe that I designed about 6 years ago, and I've paddled in the water with it twice. But by and large, we don't use it day to day. It's also an object that I met my wife through this particular canoe, so in our family it has a very special meaning in that regard.
How did you meet your wife? How it happened?
When my in-laws called me, before they were my in-laws, one day called me and asked me to come out and to see about repairing a Polynesian canoe. When I came out and looked at this particular canoe, I thought perhaps I would rather make a canoe than repair somebody else's canoe, which they said fine. They thought that was a good idea. And at the same time as I was talking about the canoe and looking at their Polynesian canoe, they were looking at me. And the next morning they called their daughter and said, "Get down here. We want you to meet this guy." And so as a result, I met my wife at the same time I carved the canoe. Now 6 years later, we have a 2-year-old little baby girl, and I still have the canoe. A great deal for me. I carved 6 faces holding up the seats. There's women, which all have a labret in their lower lip, and the men who have no labrets, they all have their mouths open, and they're all chanting, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." As the canoe goes across the water, they sing and chant for all of us to carry it lightly through the water so that it's not such hard work for the paddlers.
For the paddle to Seattle, a 10-day journey dedicated to the centennial of the state of Washington, more than 20 huge sailing canoes were outfitted. This campaign was initiated by David Forlines and Frank Brown. They started from La Push and traveled to Calum Bay, Lower Elwha, Jamestown, and Hadlock, retracing an ancestral trade route around the Olympic Peninsula. Other tribes joined them along the way to Seattle. Passed canoes on Chief Seattle's grave in Suquamish. Citing the famous treaty with whites in 1855, he addressed these words to the governor: "When the last red men shall have perished, and the memory of my tribe shall have become a myth among the white men, these shores will swarm with the invisible dead of my tribe. At night, when the streets of your cities and villages are silent and you think them deserted, they will throng with the returning hosts that once filled them and still love this beautiful land. The white man will never be alone. The dead are not powerless. There is no death, only a change of worlds."
Hoia oma lootsikut hästi, mine tea, võib-olla saad teisi ilma sellega siis.
Noh, seda ei tea midagi, ütleme, see lootsik ei vii teisi ilma ega ei tuu sealt tagasi, aga siin on taga suure viaeg, kui tarbeese on ju siin ju.
Nii, et sa ei usu, et lootsikul hing oleks?
Jan Rahuma is the last in Estonia to carve and spread the grandma of boats. In Hungary, perhaps, there is no one craftsman alive to create new canoes.
Csónak alakú, igen, ez csónak alakú fejfa, ez régi hagyományos fejfa, igen. Onnan tőletek származott, tőletek. Csónakkal vitték itten a halottat, és azért alakítottak ilyen fejfákat ki, igen. Nem kopja, az ott van Erdélybe a kopjafa, Erdélybe.
Nem kell róla már állítani.
Persze, ez a csónakalakú fejfa. Mindegyiken nyugat irányába van beállítva.
sokak által tudott jellegzetes igéjéről úgy szoktunk beszélni, testvéreim, és gondolkozni, hogy ez valakiknek, akik nem tudnak megbékélni, valakik, akik nagyot veszítettek, és nem tudják, hogy fogják fel az ő veszteségüket, valami módon ez igével nyugtot adjunk, hogy értse meg, tudja meg, fogadja el, ha nehéz is, ha keserves is elfogadni, hogy az Úr adta, az Úr vette el.
In the eastern Hungarian village Setmarcheka, the pagan and Christian traditions have intertwined in an unusual way. I'll leave for future researchers to guess the secret of how it happened on the banks of the Tisza River. The head tree, a symbol of a canoe as well as a mourning woman, is made of oak. The coffins are of hazel in Setmarcheka.
És állítólag a világon, a Húsvét-szigeteken vannak ilyen csónak alakú felkák, és itt...
Dunán túl valami Istvándi községben, ott is van ilyen csónak.
Azt én nem.
Hát abban az időben ez régi falu volt, és kérem szépen bejöttek már mondjuk a Tiszán jöttek az őseink, és aztán azért csinálták.
Vajon jöttek, és itt szálltak meg, ilyen csónakon.
Régi falu.
És egy csónak alakra ment a fejfa csinálás, így tudom.
Hát, hiába, ilyen az élet. Elmegyünk, mert azt mondja, kérem szépen, nekem volt egy tanárom Debrecenbe, azt mondta, az élet egy színpad. De mikor a gyermek anyamegyben megfogalmazott, már akkor megkapta a szerepet. Ebben van tragédia, bohózat, vígjáték, akkor a szerepet lejátszotta, életszínpadáról eltűnik, legezve a függöny nyív tovább, nem számít hány éve, elmegy.
The Contis leave canoes, guns, sledges, and dish for those who have passed away. They need these for life in the underworld.
Tyvärr när de när käng fisk på num tormni tjuvarsat. Ju purna kan ko tjum do volsmadas sormajum purna årsat varsat purna. Ju pakon ko itinam sanyerum ko itinam sintest. Tjainerum ko inam sintest tarna. Ju ostu kängit os perhi tjainerum ko ja perhi jort. Chokon ostu Ajasa chokoya kangi kirut perhi anyevran. Chanyeran chasu tun no tog den chwart. Jimgo muwat mtu koyin wur jutu. Chusalt wispeg kont kotem warti jot andi chokorsat. Just sagt.
Unexpected guests don't know anything about that. Oil drillers have taken guns from the graves and didn't even put the canoes back to cover the dead.
Ну, растевают кисы.
Так колы растевают, как-то свежие могилы.
А что будет с вашим отцом сейчас?
А не знаю.
Ему на той стороне жить очень плохо, как-то так выкопают. Им жить плохо.
Вот все время сон вышел про них.
Ну, они, как по-нашему сказать, они показывают, чтобы их что похоронили или что ли, специально, то всякие кошмары снятся.
А вы его еще похороните и новую область даете?
Нет, только его надо похоронить.
Только его снова на то, что яму выкинуть и с землей немножко сосыпать. Но я про ее отца говорю, который выкинул.
In Soviet times, a kid hunt started September 1st. The county children were caught from helicopters, separated from their families and transported for a 9-month-long Russian boarding school education. Now in Russian times, they are allowed to stay with their families to pick cranberries, but the helicopters still arrive for pickup at the beginning of October.
Начался новый учебный год. Поздравляю вас с этим. Так, первый урок у нас урок русского языка. Вначале я хотела побеседовать с вами, чем же вы занимались летом у себя в лесу. Пожалуйста. Чем занимались? Что делали? Лариса Колыванова. Лариса. Пожалуйста. Таня Лазарова, расскажи, пожалуйста, чем ты занималась дома? Ну, лето длинное было, чем занималась? А? Танюша, я тебя очень прошу, пожалуйста, расскажи детям. Ну? Пожалуйста. Скажи предложение. Я? Что ты делала летом? Давай, Вася.
How similar it is on both sides of the earth. The conquerors call themselves liberators and carriers of culture.
Se promulgó la independencia del Perú en un 24 de julio de 1800. Perdón, en un 28 de julio de 1824 y se proclamó independencia del Perú en 1826. Quiere decir, desde ese momento los peruanos eran libres e independientes. Ya unas frases que decía el general San Martín: desde este momento el Perú es libre y soberano.
Cuando uno se muere, ya no existe más. ¿Dónde va su espíritu? ¿Dónde queda?
Yo tiene mi sitio.
¿Tú tienes tu sitio?
Ya tiene mi sitio.
Pero todos tienen su sitio, o solo tú tienes tu sitio.
Cuando no sabe, no puede.
Ah, solo los que saben. Solo desaparecen de aquí, pero siguen viviendo afuera.
Más bien.
De que va a repetir, vaya con el niño, que ya ahora de mayo. Y te juyamos.
For holidays, the sequoias paint incredibly precise and delicate patterns, no longer to protect from evils, but to equal those who are already celestials, to keep knowledge and traditions going forward.
Nhà kho qua cái này có gì bị xong qua kho qua cái này có gì nữa nhá qua mà đem cũng nó qua tay tay qua bé quay mẹ này tay cũng qua quay mẹ thì để vào lấy cái bây giờ nó bị cái chơi mày kia
Here rest relatives of Matosenya Pia under one-log dishes and canoes. His father, Kapitan, a chief and shaman, was placed under the small house made of palm leaves.
Mi papá, kita mi tio, mi tio, cái giỏi.
When a chief dies, his dresses, tools, and house must be burned in fire. This shields him from the temptation to gather property as a heritage. Chiefs must bequeath only wisdom and knowledge.
Decir, come entero, charapa, mangana, pavo, pescado, comiendo, viviendo, cielo. Tiene su hogar, parece su palacio, así tiene pero mi papá. Que tienen buena casa, la casa de mí, grande. Por ahí viven. Ahí está pues, lo que ellos cantaba, clarito, se hablaba, pues. Pero ahora está, se va a hacer ese momento, sería todo, subir. Por eso aquí ningún problema, ahí viviendo. A mí no me se quedaron, por eso. Se quedaron a mí solo, viviendo. Él está conversando así, y él está así, mi papá bueno.
Without a canoe, you go no place. A canoe is a house. A canoe is a family. It keeps it all together. And a canoe is a great spirit. You see, if the Creator didn't show us how to do this, then we would be on the land and we would be hungry all the time. The canoe is attached to the house, which is the safety and livelihood of that family. And the woman has the care of the house. And then when he goes to die, they put him in his canoe and up in the trees. And it's very sacred. And a canoe comes to get you and brings you in this world.